Okay, today's video is about how to negotiate your bill rate. Everybody always wants to know about this. We're thinking about even putting together a coaching service around this. Let us know your thoughts if you're interested in that. But let me give you some initial thoughts, because getting this wrong is a bad look. So let me give you some thoughts around that, okay? So let me start with this. There's a difference between how you negotiate your bill rate at a new client versus an existing client. And one of those is easier than the other. The new client is a natural place to negotiate your bill rate before you start. Okay, and I'm gonna walk you through how you do this in a second, but these are two distinct scenarios. The new client, I think everybody knows that, it's just like a job, negotiating your salary on a job. The existing client, because what's likely to happen when you work with us is that you're gonna land a long-term project and you're gonna get restaffed, and then you're gonna get restaffed again, and it's gonna be a few years or a couple years. And you will have increased your value, and you want to negotiate an uplift in your bill rate, and that is tough to do, okay? But the first thing is to just separate those two different scenarios in your mind. And think about how bad you can look in this second scenario of an existing client. Because most of us know how to navigate the new client, right? Or a job, normal job. I see people embarrass themselves regularly trying to negotiate an uplift at an existing client. So let me walk you through the thinking, because the thinking is the same. So the first thing is this: step all the way back. We all want more money. That's stating the obvious. But you need to step all the way back, and you need to think about what you really care about. Are you really driven by money? Or are you driven by who you work with and what you get to work on, and maybe working from home, having a flexible situation where you're only 75% or 50%, whatever it is, and do you have that right now? And what strain are you putting on that by asking for more money? So think about what you really value before you just keep pushing for more. Okay? And when somebody, so this happens to me a lot, right? I have a firm and consultants come to me for a raise. And I ask them about those questions. And when they don't have a good answer, it tells me that they haven't thought about that, and it's a terrible look. So your consulting firm that you're working through, or your client, or whoever is having to make the decision, is going to ask you questions, or at least think through that. And if you don't or can't speak to that, it's a terrible look. Okay? Sorry for the frank and direct feedback, but hopefully that's perceived as value to you. By the way, if you don't like the direct talk, this Consulting University is probably not the place for you, because we're going to give it to you straight so that you can operate and drive value for yourself. Okay? So once you know what you want, know what the market will bear. What's the going rate for your skill set? What's the going rate in your location, right? Being a business analyst is different than being an enterprise technology architect. Those get paid differently. Being in New York City is different than being in Houston, Texas. Know the market. And if you are wildly disjointed from the market, you will embarrass yourself. And don't think that there aren't other options than you. There's always, nobody's irreplaceable. Me, you, doesn't matter. This is a fact, and I see people start to think that they're special, and you're not. I'm not special. I'm real good at this. I'm really good at consulting. There's nothing special about me. I can be replaced anytime. The company is not gonna go under. My client is going to survive. They may have a rough couple of days or a rough week while they find the backfill, but they're gonna live. Okay? So I don't care if you're negotiating with a new client or with an existing client. If you are wildly out of touch with the market, you are embarrassing yourself. And this happens a lot. Okay? Show up well and navigate politics. If you're talking to a new client, you don't know the politics yet. So it's show up well. Show up well in your interviews. There may be multiple interviews. Those are key. You need to be on point. Most people know how to do that, right? If it's an existing client and you're trying to renegotiate, you better know how to navigate the politics. And the consulting firm you're working for, the staffing firm you're working for, should help you do that. They should be your first call. Now, they may not want to get you an increase because they don't want to deal with it. But when people bring that to us, I'll just tell you our process. The first thing is we kind of think through this whole thing, right? What are your value drivers? Does this really make sense? What do you want? And if we have enough margin, if you're asking for a small increase, sometimes there's just enough margin in our margin that we can give that to you without bothering the client. But if you're asking for a material raise, right? If you're talking about $1 an hour, we can probably figure that out. $2, $3, $5. But you're talking $10, $20, $30 an hour. Well, there's probably not that much margin in there. So now we got to go back to the client to get the rate increased. Okay? So when you bring that to me, and I think we do a lot more than most firms do for you in this scenario, but I'll tell you what our thinking is. The first thing is we want to think through this process I've just walked you through. What do you really care about? Oh wait, you like working from home? Well, wait a minute. Do you really want to push them on this bill rate? Because we can get somebody in here that's at the client site all the time for the same price. You really want to push? And so we're hoping that you've thought through that. If you haven't thought through that, we're going to challenge your thinking to make sure you don't blow yourself up. But if it adds up, if we think through this and it makes sense, let's say you've really taken on more work, you're creating tons of value. First of all, our firm, we're typically ahead of our people on this. So your firm, you should be expecting that from your firm and pushing your firm on that. And if they're not doing that, are you with the right firm? That's a good question, right? But if there's a value case there, we go back to the client, and we do this all the time. This happens all the time. We go back to the client and we make the case for you. And we have a holistic conversation. And I mean, it's not an easy conversation, right? It's about, God, they're adding this value, and what if we lose them, and this, that, and the other. And listen, it's just, to be perfectly honest, it's just about like trade-offs. What's the pros of doing this? What's the cons of doing this? What's the risks? What's the value? And they're going to make a business decision. So you better have a case. So this is business in the purest sense. This is economics. This is the free market. And we want you to win in the free market. We help you win, frankly, in the free market. But if you're going to go drive a rate change conversation, you are reintroducing the free market into your potential job opportunity. So you better do that the right way. And I'm not trying to scare you off. I'm on your side. Trust me. We are on your side. I think that's pretty clear by the fact that we even have this site and the way that we talk to you and the type of content we bring to you. We are 100% on your side. We want you making money. We want you keeping money. We want you building wealth. But when you go do this, we want you to do it the right way. So I think that's enough. I think I've beat this horse to death. I would like your feedback. We always ask for your feedback. But I'm going to specifically ask you, do we need a service, a coaching service to help you with this? Would you pay for that? Would you pay to be able to get on the phone or a process or something with somebody like me to help you think through this? Is there more detailed information we could provide you that's a cheaper, you just buy it, it's an electronic download? Or do you need to have somebody to talk to when you go through this? An advisor, a counselor. It feels like there's value, right? Because if you're able to increase your bill rate 5, 10, 20 bucks, you're talking about 10, 20, $40,000 annually. So it feels like there's value there. Let us know your thoughts if we need to create and provide a service for you. Hopefully this video helped. This is always on people's minds, so hopefully it resonated. And as always, let us know your feedback on how we're doing on the content we're providing you. Thanks.